Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 18. It's called No Regrets. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. Where to begin with this? This had several big things happening
It
at this
did,
one.
yeah. It's a pretty good one.
First things first, they managed to find a Scottish actor who even I have trouble understanding at times because his voice is so goddamn gravelly. So yeah, Fitz's dad has made an appearance. I can't tell you that actor's name, but I have seen I've seen him in other stuff. Like I recognise his face, or more
Aye.
specifically, I recognise his voice. He's got a very
I
distinctive
think there's
voice.
just a thing that old Scotsmen instinctively just recognise each other.
Oh no, I've definitely seen him and stuff. I couldn't tell you what it was though.
Aye,
Uh,
sure.
but yeah, so he's around. He's got a very deep voice. So for Americans struggling to understand him, I get it. I do.
Yeah,
He's got a
yeah.
very sort of deep, gravelly voice. It's difficult. I'm struggling at times.
He reminds me of like someone like Brendan Gleeson. He has a very strong, deep, thick accent of his own.
Obviously Irish in that case, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but it's a similar sort of voice.
So yeah, it was him, and I just laughed when he started talking because I was like, "Oh, another Scottish actor." Man, there's a lot of Scottish actors on this show. This is getting absurd.
It's definitely the most Scottish people I've ever seen on an American show.
Yeah, because Radcliffe wasn't in a scene with him. That would have gotten really surreal if all three of them were in the room together having a chat.
Yeah, that'd just be weird.
But no, but
Maybe next week.
Radcliffe was around though. He was in the cell next to Sky, talking to her. We had two major returns this
Yes.
episode. You know about both. Did you recognise the second one?
Two?
Yeah, two.
A good trip, obviously.
Aye, Trip. Trip's the big one. Trip.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
remembers Trip. That was exciting.
Yeah, major.
Happy to see him. But did you recognise the second one?
Off the top of my head, no.
No. The scientist guy who's like giving May the strength serum.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was working at Hydra when Simmons was undercover in season 2.
Oh, really?
Way back at the start of season 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I wouldn't really call that a major return.
Well, I was hyping it up.
Overhyping, really.
But no, it's a fun little one though. But no, Trip is exciting.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was like, they're building this up. Like they're getting Macy's inside man in this facility. They're building it up. I'm like, who's this going to be? Surely this is someone we're going to know.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed because I knew going in.
Oh,
Because,
did you?
well, I
Okay.
guessed because there's been, in the past, like, month or so, there's been a few like, pictures on Instagram with him with the cast members. And it was kind of like always played off as, oh, they were at parties together and stuff. But
I do not pay
people were
attention to
speculating.
this stuff happily, and I was pleasantly surprised. You don't see his face at first, but I knew it was Trip. Like as soon as I seen the back of his head, I was like, "Oh, it's Trip," and it's Trip. And he
Yeah.
turned around and it was Trip, and I was all
Yeah.
excited.
And then Coulson calls him it, and it's cool.
Yeah, yeah, and then later on, Simmons calls him Trip as well, and it's like he's like, "What? Another one? Call me Trip? I heard that since high school. This is weird."
Yeah.
But no, that was big stuff. But yeah, so a large part of the main plot in this one was Coulson Mace sneaking into this facility to get Trip. Well, we don't know it's Trip throughout most of the episode, but when they get there, it's Trip. But then Coulson sees like some of the kids that were taken out of his class, and he goes to try and help them. Meanwhile, May shows up to try and get Patriot, try and get Mace because she's taking this super serum, and she's
She's
going
taking what Mace took in the real world, basically.
yeah, essentially, yeah. And she gets her ass kicked, but she goes in like all guns blazing, goes after him, and we get essentially the heroic sacrifice, and Mace dies. Mace, and they confirm it in the real world. We see the real
Yeah.
world. It's the first time I've cut to the real world since in this arc, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And we see Ada watch him flatline, and it's a really sad moment. He's got a big death, but what I liked about it was this was him getting what he wanted.
Yeah.
Because that was his whole thing, is he wasn't able to do the sacrifice. He was a bit of a coward in real life, and he wanted to have his big moment. You could argue how sad and depressing this is, given that it's not real.
But he believed it was real.
He believed it was real. In fact, a big part of this episode was him talking about how he believed everything he was doing mattered.
Yeah.
So it was really him. So that was nice.
I think it really works. I think someone did have to die at some point in this arc to, really drive it home.
Show the stakes, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Mace is kind of the obvious choice in that sense.
Yes, I think that's maybe why I almost hoped they didn't do it to him though, because he was the obvious choice. But then
Yeah,
again,
but
like,
then
who
do you want it
take?
to happen to the others?
Yeah, who do you take instead? And I don't really want any of them to go. So
Exactly.
Mace is the one I'm willing to let go, even though I'd rather no one died. But I get it.
Yeah.
And it was a big moment. He's saving the kid, and it's what snaps May out of it as well, because May's in guns blazing, and like Coulson barks an order at her. He's like, "Agent May, put the gun down. We're saving a kid." Yeah. And it's almost like that combined with seeing the kid and seeing the heroism on display is what kind of snaps me out of it.
Because you see her down it when she sees the kids when she's going into the building.
Yeah, because
she's
she
like,
didn't know
what
there
on
were.
earth's going on in here?
She doesn't know there was kids in there. She like sort of passed on the order to take down the building. Like that was Fitz. That was Fitz and Ada back at base, and she didn't know there was kids. So when she sees those kids, like you see her starting to question things.
And I really like it's that it's kids that snaps her out of it, because it's kind of kids that's driven her down this path. Well, one kid, but like, it makes sense that it's that which works for her.
Yeah, seeing what she in this world believes in to be true and real, and that's Hydra. Like seeing that they're up to this, and we see they're up to full on Clockwork Orange brainwashing nonsense.
Pretty much, yeah.
With these kids that have been questioning things. So, no, it's a really big moment, and of course it leads to the post credits scene, which I was super hyped by, and
I was, but it was kind of my only problem with the episode as well.
Why?
In the sense that the moment before the post-credit scene is, Ada disengaging the body.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that as just the final moment there, cut to credits. I didn't want anything after that, but even though I liked the scene after.
Oh, but it's a post scene though, it's separate.
It is, but it's not separate enough.
And I will fight for it because I think it was the needed dose of hope after the sacrifice.
I know. I really like that as the ending.
As soon as the scene started, I knew where it was going.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I was sort of predicting. I wasn't 100% sure what it was going to do, but I was pretty sure, and I wanted it to happen. So when May pulls out that Terrigen crystal,
I mean, we've been saying it all arc at this point that we're going to have this scene.
Well, yeah, but not necessarily with May. We didn't know it was going to be May that initiates it. So that was the exciting part. It's May snapping out of it, combined with Skye getting the Terrigen. And the parallels it draws with the first time this happened, it's actually, I think it's really coincidental, perhaps. Maybe it's intentional, but I think it's really interesting that the first time in the Terrigen is what killed Trips, and then the episode we get him back is what she gets the Terrigen again. I think that's very symmetrical.
It is.
Which is really
Question
cool.
is, does she get the same powers? I mean, you assume so.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to bet money on it, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume so, like I said, but it'd be interesting if she was like, hang on, this isn't right.
Yeah. Another thing I love though is just how different it is from the last time, because this time she's not scared, she knows what's happening, and she's even smiling as the rock forms around her face, because she knows it's... And she gets that nod from May, it's like, yeah, right. It's
See
time.
on the other side.
I mean, maybe May doesn't remember everything yet, just kind of like Coulson, where it's not all there, but she has an understanding that she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing, and she needs to help Skye, and it's just this moment of recognition, and it's this great hopeful fist pump just as we go out.
Yeah, it is good.
And the Skye theme's playing, the Quake theme.
Yeah, obviously. What else are you going to play in this moment?
Exactly. But no, I really... It was a nice uplifting moment at the end after that downer of an ending. So,
yeah, definitely.
But no, we got Trip, we got all this. Of course, the other big thing, well, not big thing, but the other main thing I think to take away from this episode is just how messed up is Fitz going to be when he remembers or when he gets out, because he is directly responsible for really the Agnes being shot. He did that. He actually pulled that trigger. And then in this one, he gave the order that killed Mace. That's two real people that Fitz has now killed in this world.
And one of them was one he knew on a personal level as well.
Yes. Yeah, arguably they're getting closer and closer to him, because Agnes was someone he just knew of.
Yeah.
Mace is someone that he knew.
As long as he doesn't kill Simmons.
Mace is someone that he knew who is closer, but not someone who's close with.
Yeah.
Then with Titan, who do we get closer to now after that? And
Yeah,
at what
I'm
point?
actually a little bit worried that they'll do it.
Well, we see that scene with his father, where he sounds like he's having a little bit of doubt, and the scene's just kind of there to clearly show it's his father being around that's made him the way he is. It's
Yeah, like we'd speculated.
yeah, it was exactly what we thought, but it worked well enough to just clearly show that and show that there is a little bit of doubt. But he is backed out of it by him immediately. The moment he starts to show it's it's a sign of weakness as far as his father's concerned that he's even thinking these thoughts. But I really, I'm really concerned about how broken he's going to be.
I'm just concerned that he's not going to snap out of it in time, and that he is going to kill Simmons, and then as he kills her, then he's going to snap out of it, and that's going to be. Oh man, I don't know if I can take that.
Don't do that to me. I don't know if I can take that. That's
I don't know if I can.
If we get a final season after this, it's going to be depressing as hell if that's how we come out of this framework nonsense.
Man, tears will be shed if this happens. Just putting that out there.
Obviously, thematically, there was a lot of stuff that brought up, because we actually spoke, we even debated, I think, last week or the week before about should they just not care about the digital people in here? Like, does it matter if they die or live or whatever? And Simmons starts the episode with that attitude. This doesn't matter. Stop going on these missions that don't mean anything. This is stupid and pointless. And she sees Mac with his daughter, and she sees the real connection there. And even if she doesn't necessarily believe that the daughter's real, she sees what Mac has in here, the love that he has, and she even looks at him and smiles. And it's really funny that Ward's the one who's like, after hearing our crackpot theory about this being a fake world and her from the real world, like, he's the one that's arguing, like, this feels pretty real to me.
Yeah. It's I'm interested in dealing with that. Obviously, when she brought that up to Ward and Mace, and he was like, well, how do you know that you're not from a fake world and this isn't the real one? You're only just waking up to it. And I think maybe if she questions it a little bit, just has this crisis of faith because it is so real.
I don't think we're going down that path, mainly just because with more people waking up and with Sky presumably coming back to her pretty soon, I don't see her going down that path.
I don't either. Just an extra episode I think would have been really nice, just to see her question it a little bit.
I don't think we need that kind of thing, mainly because we know it's not. I think it'd be kind of frustrating if they went down that route. I think the more interesting part is what we've been talking about is the morality. Are these digital beings also life? At what point are they also? Yeah. Do they also deserve the right? To live and have experiences? And is shutting this all off, killing all these people? Is it killing Mac's daughter?
Yeah, I feel like ultimately they have to let it stay on. After this, she won't be able to turn it off.
Well, if they can't turn it off, does Mac stay?
I think he might.
Mac's the one I'm worried about. I'm worried that Mac's going to stay.
Because I remember saying at the end of the last arc, that'll be the trick, convincing them all that they want to leave.
But do we get Trip and Ward in life model decoys in the real world? Do they download them in?
I can see that.
Bodies. Do they make some bodies, obviously modelled after the actors so they can keep the actors for the real world? Do we do that path and we get Trip and Ward back? Trip, obviously, just a nice addition to have back. Ward's this weird mixed thing where they're all conflicted because
it'll be really weird if Mac stays and Trip comes back, because they kind of swapped in and out before.
There was overlap. We had Mac for half a season before Trip went.
Sure.
But
there's overlap here. We'll go on an episode now.
Well, it'd be interesting if Mac maybe like comes back, but he dips in and out. Like he goes back in, like Radcliffe was doing before Ada slashed him. I don't know. Okay. Maybe that'd be something they could do. Or maybe if Mac remembers and he realizes what this is, maybe he will want to like delete her because it's like a fake representation of a life that he could have had. Like he maybe he'll almost be offended by the existence. And as much as he cares for this fake version of his daughter, to him it might be, this isn't right, I need to sort of...
Yeah, it could be. It could go that way.
I could see it going that way maybe as well.
I can see it going either way though, and I think that's impressive. That obviously it helps towards the end of a season where it's like, hang on, we could lose people here. And they could go this route if they wanted to.
Yeah. Having Trip back's a really nice surprise, because I was not expecting it, and it makes sense they could do it in here, because remember when this first started, we were worried Lincoln was going to show up, and goddamn Ada was threatening it. Yeah, threatening this episode. Oh, I can bring Lincoln back, and thankfully,
Don't
Sky's
you
like,
bloody dare.
"No, it's fake in here. I don't want fake Lincoln." It's like, we don't want fake Lincoln either. Real Lincoln was bad enough. Let's not let's not get a fake Lincoln. But no, that was that was really good stuff. But no, just that moral debate and like Simmons' question, because when she says, "Oh no, don't bring him back, take me instead," and it's like, well, are you doing that because of the daughter, or are you like, why are you making that choice?
It's you could look at it like, well, Mac doesn't have his memories. He's not, he hasn't got his memories as a fighter, so maybe he's not the best choice to take anyway.
Possibly,
because he's kind of still a civilian in here, right?
Yeah, yeah. But to be fair, the job was to drive a bus.
Sure, but she knows as well. Well, she knows that once they're there.
Okay, to be fair, at this point, it wasn't driving the bus anymore because this was when they were going to extract
this was
the
just
team.
The two of them, wasn't it? Yeah. The backup team to go in.
The backup team, which was all two of them.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have anyone else. They kind of made that clear.
All two of them.
This rebel base is really kind of not got many people in it other than the refugees.
It's anemic, is what it is. Dear. So, lots of development. Obviously, we lost Mace. May seems to be somewhat snapped out of it. Sky's about to go full Uber Quake next episode. Unless they pull the joke twist and that she's got a different power that's really silly. Maybe she'll have the lion hands that Coulson was mentioning earlier on.
What a strange power.
This Inhuman's got lion hands. Nothing else, just the hands.
I don't know enough about Marvel to know if that's just a real thing that they've just pulled as a joke. Which I can see it could have been. So one of those joke characters.
Yeah, it could be. Or it could be something the writers just thought, what's the most ridiculous thing we can think of?
Yeah.
And they came up with lion hands. Don't know. Well, I suppose when you think about it, it's not a million miles away of something like Wolverine having claws.
It's not.
No. It's just funny if they've actually got the fur though and the paws kind of instead of actual hands.
And no thumbs.
Makes it a bit more silly, but it works. But no, a big episode. I thought the big Mace exit worked really, really well. The music was going nuts. I think Bear McCreary, who's really good, right?
Yeah.
And I think his music in S.H.I.E.L.D. has been phenomenal, and he does these great things where they have these big moments where someone's dying or they have like a mid-season finale, and he does these new versions that mix in the main theme but does it in new ways that adapts it to the moment at hand. One of my favourites is when they were all coming off the alien planet mid-season 3. Like that had a really big, great cue. No season 3 soundtrack yet, though. I just want to point that out there. Get to it.
Aye.
I was already pissed that the season 2 soundtrack didn't have the Quake theme on it, which was really upsetting.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
But season 3's not even got a soundtrack yet. Come on, get to it. But really big stuff. That said, I will say, as great as his music on this is, it's still not quite top Battlestar Galactica. That still wins.
Having
overall.
not seen that, I can't compare.
Of course you can't, but I'm just. I think people who have watched all that show will maybe not agree, but they'll understand why I'm rooting for that or saying that show instead. But no, that's another solid episode. This arc is basically killing it.
It's delivered every single episode so far. I mean, this season for the most part, actually.
I mean, the Ghost Rider arc was a bit weaker.
It was a bit weaker, but it was at least good.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as great as the season 3 plot lines. And then once we got to the Life Model Decoy arc, it was like, whoa, shit, this just like went up a notch. It was like, okay, I've just realised how kind of for this show how much of a 7 the Ghost Rider stuff was.
Yeah,
and then
this has gone up again.
Yeah, then it got to LMD and it was like, I don't know. Well, that said, I don't think any of these episodes has topped the finale of LMD yet.
Okay, that's fair.
That was one of the best episodes of the show so far.
Oh, yeah. But this has been incredibly consistent at how great it's been.
Yeah, so far this has been very consistent. So, obviously, we're looking forward to next week. We've got 4 more episodes left this season. So, here's hoping we do get one final season, even if it's... Yeah, you know what? Even if it's only 7 or 8 episodes, because they've shown that they can do 7 or 8 episode arcs. Give us that. Although... They need, I think, 12 to get to 100, so it'll probably be 12 or 13.
Well, I mean, you don't have to get to Dead on 100 anymore, though.
You don't have to, but I guarantee they'll still want to.
Probably.
They'll still want to. And hey, that's 2 arcs. If they do this same system, they could give us a 7 and a 6.
Or one extended goodbye.
or one extended goodbye. They could do what they want. But that's this week's Shield. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have you got any vanilla?